It happened on a Thursday, the kind of day that starts with a standing ovation and ends with a knife in the back. I still remember the smell of burnt espresso and Sharpie ink as I stood in front of the conference whiteboard, bleeding out my brain for a product launch that would save our quarter. Less than 12 hours later, I was packing my things while my boss avoided eye contact. Before we dive in, where are you listening from? And what time is it for you right now? Drop a comment below. I read everyone. I arrived early today. Also, if you're into stories about career betrayals, personal wins, and quiet revenge, hit that subscribe button. You won't regret it. My name is Ryan Delaney. I'm 32, fiercely reliable, and I never leave a team hanging, even if the leadership doesn't deserve my loyalty. It happened on a Thursday, the kind of day that starts with a standing ovation and ends with a knife in the back. I still remember the smell of burnt espresso and Sharpie ink as I stood in front of the conference whiteboard, bleeding out my brain for a product launch that would save our quarter. Less than 12 hours later, I was packing my things while my boss avoided eye contact. Before we dive in, where are you listening from? And what time is it for you right now? Drop a comment below. I read everyone. I arrived early today. Also, if you're into stories about career betrayals, personal wins, and quiet revenge, hit that subscribe button. You won't regret it. My name is Ryan Delaney. I'm 32, fiercely reliable, and I never leave a team hanging, even if the leadership doesn't deserve my loyalty. I stared at the screen like it was a gun pointed at my legacy. My deck, his name. Martin didn't even bother to minimize it. He must have assumed I'd go quietly, too stunned or broken to push back. And honestly, for a full 5 seconds, I was. But then I remembered something. Something that made my pulse steady. The deck on his screen wasn't the final version. The final version, the one I submitted late last night, had a small innocuous addition. A single metadata tag embedded in the file properties, one I always included in my work. Authored by Ryan Delaney. Created May 11th at 8:43 p.m. A digital fingerprint. Invisible to most, but not to me. And definitely not to the board, if they ever saw the original file. "You're making a mistake," I said, voice low. Calm. Martin's eyes flicked up, smug and confident. "You'll get 3 months. That's generous." I smiled. "You're right. It is generous." And I turned and walked out, not because I was done, but because I was just beginning. I didn't go home. I went 3 blocks down to a WeWork where my buddy Liam was still pulling dev hours for his startup. Liam and I built side projects together during the pandemic. One of them was an internal product analytics tool we'd pitched to my company last year. Martin had laughed it off. Too technical for execs. Too beta. Now I had an idea. "Hey man," I said as I slid into the hot desk across from Liam. "Remember that traceable watermarking feature we built for file sharing? You still have it running?" Liam looked up, confused. "Yeah. I think it's still on the dev server. Why?" I grinned. "Because I used it last night." What Martin didn't know was that I'd saved the deck not just with my standard metadata, but also uploaded it through our tool, which encrypted an invisible watermark and usage log. Meaning? I had proof. Proof that I authored it. Proof that he opened it. Proof of when and where, and more importantly, I had access to the board. You don't spend 5 years inside a company without knowing the real power players. One of them, Sarah Kang, was the chief revenue officer, and someone I'd worked closely with before Martin ever showed up. So I took a shot. "Sarah," I wrote, "this is off the record. The GTM deck Martin's presenting today, I made it. Every slide. I was let go this morning without warning. Before you hear anything else, I'd like you to see what I'm attaching." I attached both versions of the deck. Mine, clean, time-stamped, and sourced, and his, duplicated, renamed, and modified an hour after I'd submitted the original. Then I did something crazy. I hit send and waited. For 3 hours I sat there, trying not to check my email every 2 seconds, trying not to scream. Liam kept glancing over, clearly unsure whether to make popcorn or back away slowly. Finally, my phone buzzed. Subject: RE, Deck Authorship. From Sarah Kang. Body: Can you come in? Now, I walked back into the building like a ghost. Badge still worked. They hadn't shut me out yet. Maybe they thought I'd just slink off. Maybe Sarah had already cleared the way. Either way, no one stopped me. I took the elevator to the 19th floor, the executive suite, and it felt like walking into the lion's den. Plush carpet, soundproof glass walls, the hum of filtered power and politics. Sarah met me at the door. Crisp navy blazer, sharp eyes. She didn't smile. Ryan, walk with me. We stepped into the side hallway, out of view. She turned and went right for the jugular. You're sure you authored that deck? Every word, every graph. He changed the title slide and re-exported it. I have the metadata. I also used a prototype tracking tool. It logs file opens and edits, time-stamped. Her jaw flexed. I had a feeling. Apparently, Martin had come into the boardroom swinging, opened the deck like it was his brainchild, promised execution timelines he didn't understand and data he couldn't explain. Sarah said it smelled off. She just hadn't had proof, until now. Stay here, she said. Don't move, I mean it. Then she vanished into the boardroom, and the door swung shut behind her. 15 minutes passed. Then 20. I stood alone, palms sweating, wondering if I'd just detonated my entire career over some principle. But I kept thinking about the interns, about the engineers Martin had ignored, about the late nights and early mornings. If I let this slide, it wouldn't just be me he walked over. Finally, the door opened. Martin stepped out, pale, sweating, jaw tight. He did a double take when he saw me. You're still here? He hissed. I met his eyes. I'm exactly where I need to be. Sarah followed right behind him. Ryan, come in. The board would like to speak with you. I walked into a room I'd never been invited to before. 10 people sat around the table, laptops closed, eyes on me. Sarah gestured. This is Ryan Delaney, author of the GTM strategy you saw earlier. He has something to share. My heart beat like a war drum in my chest, but I kept my voice steady. I was terminated this morning, no warning. I'd submitted that deck the night before, fully authored by me. Martin took it, rebranded it, and presented it as his own. I pulled up my laptop, showed the metadata, the watermarked log, the email thread. Silence. Then one of the board members, an older man with a hawk-like stare, leaned forward. This is airtight. He used your work and fired you to cover it. I nodded. Yes, sir. And respectfully, I didn't come here to beg for my job. I came here so the truth wouldn't be buried. Sarah smiled. Just barely. Then she turned to the room and said 6 words I'll never forget. Motion to terminate Martin's employment. Effective immediately, Sarah finished. Martin's face went bloodless. He looked around the boardroom like someone had hit pause on his entire life. His lips moved, but no sound came out. Then, finally, he found his voice. You can't be serious. The hawk-eyed board member, I'd learn later his name was Charles Delaney, no relation, didn't even flinch. We're dead serious. You committed ethical misconduct. You lied to this board, stole intellectual work, and eliminated a key asset to cover it. Sarah folded her arms. And you did it badly. Martin sputtered. "This is just some vendetta. He's always needed hand-holding. He can't lead. Sarah cut him off. "You weren't even here when Ryan got us out of that cross-platform analytics nightmare, or when he salvaged the Q2 rollout in 2 weeks. Don't rewrite history. You just got caught." Security was called. Not for me. For him. 2 suits came in, quiet and efficient. Martin looked at me like I was the devil incarnate as they led him out. But all I felt was clarity, not triumph, not vengeance, just the cool, solid click of truth falling into place. After Martin was gone, the boardroom shifted. The tension broke, and a few of the members started asking me pointed questions about the strategy, questions I was actually excited to answer. For the first time in months, I wasn't walking on eggshells or second-guessing myself. I was being heard. After about 20 minutes of back and forth, Sarah closed her laptop and turned to me. "You walked in here ready to lose everything," she said. "That tells me a lot more than a padded resume ever could." I just nodded. I didn't trust myself to speak. She continued, "We're restructuring. Again. And this time we're going to do it right." That's when she offered me a role. Not Martin's. That was too scorched. But something better. Director of Strategic Initiatives, reporting directly to her, autonomy, budget, a mandate to build from the ground up. "Take the weekend," she said. "Let it sink in." I walked out of that boardroom into the afternoon sun, blinking. The same people who'd avoided eye contact that morning now looked at me like I was made of fire. I went straight back to the WeWork. Liam looked up as I walked in and said, "Holy shit, you did something?" I laughed. "You have no idea." We cracked beers at 2 p.m. and toasted to poetic justice. But I wasn't celebrating yet, because the real work, the stuff I wanted to do, the kind that didn't involve corporate politics and backroom betrayals, hadn't even started yet. "Tell me where to start," I said. She laughed. "That's exactly why we want you." By Monday, I was in a new office, smaller than Martin's, but mine. No glass walls, no fake plants, no ego, just a whiteboard, a stack of Post-its, and the raw, electric feeling of possibility. Director of Strategic Initiatives. The title didn't impress me, but the mission did. Sarah laid it out plainly. "We've been bloated at the top and broken at the bottom. I want you to rebuild the connective tissue, products, people, culture, fix what Martin ignored." She gave me carte blanche to assemble a strike team. No politics, no red tape, just results. So I started with the people Martin would have ignored. I pulled Mia from support. Brilliant systems thinker, always 3 steps ahead. I tapped Dev from QA, the guy who knew our product inside out and had been buried under junior titles for 3 years. I even brought Liam in part-time, officially contracted to scale the watermarking tool we'd use to expose Martin. We called it Echo Trail, and it quickly became our internal standard for authorship and accountability. Word got out fast. The guy who got fired on Friday was now calling the shots on Monday. Some execs were skeptical. A few tried to ice me out. But I didn't need their permission. I just needed momentum. And momentum, it turns out, is contagious. By Q3, we'd shipped 3 internal tools that shaved weeks off our product cycles. By Q4, employee churn dropped 18%. And that GTM deck? It went on to land us 2 of our biggest clients that year. I got a handwritten note from Charles Delaney, the hawk-eyed board member. "Rare to see integrity weaponized so effectively. You've changed more than our numbers. You've reset our compass." That one I kept, right next to the envelope Martin had slid across his desk on the day he fired me. I kept it as a reminder. Not out of bitterness, but clarity. Because the people who burn you don't expect you to rise. And when you do, it terrifies them. But just when things felt solid, when I finally had breathing room, a dream team, and a clear runway, I got an unexpected message. Subject: coffee? From Martin Caldwell. Yeah, that Martin. 6 months gone, and suddenly he wanted to meet. I showed Liam the email. He raised an eyebrow. Could be bait, could be a trap, could be interesting. I replied with 2 words. Name the place. We met at a quiet cafe on the 14th, one of those places where the baristas wear beanies in July, and everyone pretends not to overhear your conversation. Martin was already there when I walked in. No suit this time, just a wrinkled button-down and eyes that had lost their bite. He stood when he saw me, reflexively, awkwardly. Ryan, thanks for coming. I didn't shake his hand. We sat. I didn't order anything. I'll get to the point, he said. I messed up. I know that now. I leaned back, said nothing. He swallowed hard. I've been out 6 months. No offers. Word got around fast. Faster than I expected. You've got pull now. People listen to you. I was hoping you might consider a recommendation. I let the silence stretch. Because here's the thing. This man tried to bury me. Fired me without cause. Stole my work. And now he wanted my help? I didn't feel angry. Not anymore. I felt something colder. Cleaner. Distance. I finally spoke. You know, when you let me go, I thought my career was over. Martin looked down. Yeah, I was wrong. No, I said. You were right. Just not in the way you thought. That job, that version of me, it had to end, so I could build something better. He looked up, hopeful. So, you'll help? I studied him. Martin, I believe in second chances, I do. But I also believe in consequences. And the truth is, you didn't just burn a bridge. You tried to set the whole damn river on fire. He flinched. I'm not going to badmouth you, I continued. But I won't lie for you either. You'll have to rebuild on your own, the right way this time. He nodded slowly, hollow. I understand. I stood. Good luck, Martin. And I meant it, because here's what they never tell you about poetic justice. It's not about revenge. It's about balance. That spring, Echo Trail was spun into a standalone SAS product. We scaled fast. Sarah became CEO. I joined the executive team full-time. And the team we built? Some of the smartest, kindest, fiercest people I've ever known. Not bad for a guy who got fired on a Friday before lunch.